What's happening, YouTube? Let's get into our favorite meme stock. I'm going to be going over GME and then also AMC. First, I want to start off with Gamestop because you are so close to a breakout. It's making me insane. You posted a inside bar candle showing further consolidation today, down 1.67%. on less volume than the previous day. So that is a very, very true consolidation candle right there. I would anticipate further consolidation because this thing just wants to continue to consolidate. And maybe even when you break out, maybe you consolidate even then. Who knows, right? It's very, very funny. I'm joking. I think that this thing is going to pop off in a very, very explosive way here shortly. But on the daily, I would expect extreme resistance right before $25 because this is the beginning of the gap fill. Typically, gap fills will be defended by just trading blocks, really. I mean, bots and institutions will dump on your hopes of filling this gap. Typically, if you enter this gap, that acts as defense, right? It could act as defense or support. There are examples on other charts of when you come right up to a gap and then you bounce. In this instance, you came right up to the gap and then you rejected. I would anticipate if you enter this $25 zone, guys, on GameStop, you are going to teleport. It's going to be like a Thanos snap up to $28. And I think that's what I'm most excited about is I can feel that this is going to be coming, a 30% move almost. And I know that everyone and their mother is going to be talking about GameStop once you enter in this $25 zone because it's going to be boom, 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 candle city. But in the meantime, guys, we really have traded insanely sideways. On the weekly, you did begin to constrict on the MACD on the weekly once more, and you want to see that curl up. You need to see that curl up. Nothing too special on the weekly time frame, guys. You close below the 200-day EMA for the first time since back here. Every single time you've gotten back above it. So I would anticipate that to happen. If you close green next week, I would anticipate a flip on the weekly MACD while you regain the 200 and you break out. I think that is the most likely scenario in my opinion. And it being a weekend, an extended weekend, probably didn't help, right? Typically, extended weekends, all the big hedge funds, all the big institutions, they go on vacation, they go out with their families, and it really becomes a low-volume week. So I would anticipate next week, potentially, if you don't see a pop-off on Tuesday, right? You have a lot of big stocks going into earnings, NEO, GameStop, for it to be another potential week of consolidation. I hope not. I hope I'm dead wrong and that this thing rocket ships. But an example on the monthly time frame, this is a green doji. Typically, green dojis show indecision or a weakening of trend, right? What's the trend? The trend has been down 18%, down 8%, and down 0.18%. I would anticipate that you find your way above this 50-day EMA on the monthly for the first time since back here. Typically, you've wicked off of this every single time. You close below it here, and then you rejected it here. You need to get above that 50-day monthly EMA. Furthermore, this is the tightest price spread. You literally opened at 22.32 and you literally closed at 22.41. That is the tightest candle spread on the monthly I have ever seen on any stock at all. Talk about constricted. And I'd be curious to see the Bollinger Bands. Bollinger Bands on the monthly, not too bad. On the weekly, still not too bad. I don't know how that's possible. On the daily, so this is where you show that you're overdue for some kind of monumental momentum. You had him constructed here, you ran. You had him constructed here, you ran. I mean, to consider that this is constricted relatively. And you get down here and you see how constricted this is. Just absurd, right? You would expect, because the bands are so tight, a more volatile move on this stock when you find the breakout. Let's turn that off. The daily ADX, I know our boy Jackie talks about this all the time. The lowest I've also ever seen it on any stock, a daily ADX of 6.69, shows a significant trend exhaustion, in my opinion. Every single time it's gotten down here, you V-shape, right? And you've never been quite so low, but this is a good example right here. The ADX was at 8.30, and then you literally V-shape into a bullish recovery. ADX low, you pick up in momentum, you dip because it was not a valid trend, and then you pick up in extreme momentum. So I would expect something pretty crazy to happen, in my opinion, not financial advice. It's going to be very important to see how GameStop reacts to the death cross being tested for the first time. And I would not be opposed to this thing doing something a little bit more structured of a move, like you test it, come back down and test the macro flag. Everyone at that point would probably be tearing their hair out. Oh my God, it's over. It's done. Boom. Consolidate. Boom. This thing's ready to do something nasty. And I will be covering it every step of the way because I want to be one of the best traders and one of the best stock news outlets on the YouTube platform. GameStop, monthly doji, indecision on the weekly, indecision on the daily. We are really just waiting for a large scale breakout on this thing. We know our targets. We know the gap fill at $28, $30, and then the very, very important gap fill at 73 is our long-term target on GameStop, on GME. And with earnings right around the corner on the 8th or 9th, I would expect this thing to do the dirty as it always has going into earnings, right? Going into earnings, you pump. You pump. I'm focusing on these E's. That stands for earnings. Going into earnings, you pump. You pump. You pump, and then you dump. Going to earnings, you pump. Earnings, you pump. You literally traded all the way down here. Week before earnings, you pump. Week before earnings, you pump. Week before earnings, you pump. You pump. I mean, it's hard to ignore the volatility at earnings, and it's hard to ignore how good this chart looks, guys. So I would just take a restful approach on it. We've covered the MACD. We've covered the RSI. We've covered pretty much everything on GameStop. So now we're waiting for the longer-term move and for us to party like there is no tomorrow. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, AMC. All right. Now, let's reiterate something here. My thesis on AMC is that GameStop looks so good that AMC is going to squeeze. Same thing that happened back here, I believe is on its way in a much more macro style. Now, although the micro on AMC, you broke this uptrend, it doesn't look great, but you are within a potential falling wedge pattern here. And if you break the falling wedge, well, then it's not good news. It's bad news bears, right? You're probably coming down to 250 like we originally had thought possible. But you do have a falling wedge formed here, and I would expect this to play out, in my opinion, just because of how good the small cap and risk on assets look. But let me not distract you guys. The bigger picture here on AMC, there's three things that I'm looking at on AMC's chart that, in my opinion, are inherently significantly bullish. A, three gap fills to the north side. And those are $13, $19, and $43. I'm not saying you have to fill all of them, but there is a possibility that you could, right? Same way that GameStop has three gap fills to the north side. Very, very similar. You have one at 28, 30, and 73. Going into AMC, though, if you break this falling wedge, if you break this, you're going to test the 200-day EMA, which you have not done successfully and broken above. You tested there, you got smacked down like John Cena. It's WWE super freaking smash. It's insane. You tested it here, you closed right below. You did break above it. Tested it here, you closed below. Tested here, you closed below. Broke above it, failed to hold. Broke above it, failed to hold. Reject, reject. So truthfully, you would be getting above and closing above the 200-day EMA for the first time since this 2020 range, guys. The 200-day EMA being as exhausted and oversold as it is gives you a very unique opportunity on AMC, that it is now no longer overpriced, that it is at fair value. And in my opinion, once you mount this 50-day EMA and you get above this falling wedge, you mount the 200-day EMA, guys, you don't know how close you are to something historic on AMC. You do not realize how quickly this thing could do one of these. Oh, it's dead. It's a dead stock. It's so flat. Boom. Boom. Like, truthfully, all you need is this 50-day. Once you get above it, let's say it happens late September, to start curling up. And the trajectory of this 200-day EMA will cross the 50, and you'll get a golden cross on the daily time frame for the first time since back here during the squeeze, right? Approximately February 3rd, 2021 was your daily golden cross. Now, you have gone 5 years almost without that happening again. That would be the biggest news on AMC stock in 5 years. And I would stand by it because your monthly time frame, the Bollinger Bands, don't even get me started on the Bollinger Bands. You can see the bands. And so when I see these things, very similar to Neo stock, by the way, coiled, the most constricted they've ever been in AMC's history, guys. I get inherently bullish on the stock. And it's not because the bands are tight. It's because the bands are tight while you get a swing up on the quarterly MACD, while you get a potential golden cross coming down the pipeline, while you're in a falling wedge, while you figure out debt and get positive earnings. It is the spew of momentum that begins to snowball that makes me think that these Bollinger Bands are going to break to the north side. And with them being as tight as they are on a high time frame, I would anticipate that once you do what Neo did and you gain that mid band right there, that you are going to fill some of these gaps. Now, it might not be the full $43. That'd be a dream come true, honestly. I'd love to see this community win and get that. But maybe it's $19. Maybe you make another macro higher high. I would not think that that is out of the picture here. So if I go into the daily and I start to look for confluence on why that could happen, right? Another higher high. There's not a lot I could connect, to be honest, to see here. I like to try to plot it out to possible touch points. Maybe that range plus this top. That's 168. Yeah. This is 11 to 13, maybe. That would give you the top side resistance of the gap fill. That would be interesting. You have a bounce, a tap, and a tap. For top side resistance on AMC, most likely to stop you at around $14. That would be a true test of the stock to do something very similar here and complete this double bottom formation you've been in. But I don't think there's anything more exciting to me than this 200-day EMA. And breaking that for the first time, that would get me very excited. I don't know if you guys know how excited that would get me. I would probably post every other day on AMC because above this unlocks serious momentum and serious volatility for moves higher. I mean, you can see you broke it here with extreme volume. You can look at how the stock has respected the 200-day EMA. I mean, wicked it pretty much to the penny here. You broke it here, retested this golden cross, which was a beautiful thing, and then from there, the rest is history, right? 100%, 177%, and then the full macro move off the test of the golden cross, which is my favorite entry, testing this golden cross. The full macro move, 1,243%. And so I would personally look for something very similar here, right? I would look for a break of this wedge and this double bottom, get above this, come back down, test the golden cross, maybe it's $3, and then you go. So not financial advice, guys. The monthly close on GME has me excited. So much patience that we've had to go through, so much waiting that we've had to go through. And I know that you guys are just ready for this thing to swing up or down, just for it to do something. So I'll be covering GameStop earnings going into the 8th or 9th, I believe. So stick around, stay tuned, guys. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be posting every single day. So please slap the subscribe button. We're on a tremendous trajectory right now, up to 250 subscribers. God bless each and every one of you guys, and stay tuned for the next video, guys. Love you all, and peace.